Welcome back. So good for you to be here. So today is my 2 palettes, 1 look video. And today I have the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette, which has a terrible glare on it, and the Naked Heat. Now, these are not meant to be dupes videos, anything like that, but I notice a lot of videos on YouTube where a palette comes out, people do look for it. It could be any kind of look, and you kind of feel this buyer's thing of like, ooh, I really like that look, I now need to buy that palette. And what I've realized going through my collection and what I have is there's a lot of things that I can get this same look from, and I don't necessarily need another palette. So this is just kind of a way of looking at what you have and showing you that a lot of palettes will give you similar looks. Now, the reason why I don't classify this as a dupes video is because if you were to swatch some of these colors, which I will at the end of this video, there's some differences. But when you blend them on the eye and you actually apply them, you're gonna get a very similar look. No one's really gonna be able to tell the difference. So for this video to work, I'm actually gonna do the Naked Heat on this eye, and then I'm going to do the Jaclyn Hill on this side, and that way then you can kind of see, and again at the end I'll swatch all the colors that I used so you can see a side-by-side comparison of those colors, and then I'll also give you my feedback on the palettes of just kind of their formula and different things like that and how they work, because there is differences. There's also formula differences with some of these palettes. So if you like this style of video, please give it a thumbs up. If not, I'm always happy to hear your comments and see, you know, why didn't you like this video? I'm pretty open, you know, as long as no one gets mean. So I've done the rest of my face makeup, eyebrows and everything. I am gonna prime my lids first, and I'm just using the Ulta matte primer before we get started. I'm going to use this same thing on both sides. Now the look I'm doing is a like orangey kind of shimmery look. And the reason why I picked this is because a lot of palettes you can do a brown neutral look. That's nothing new. You can tell even just by the formulas what that looks like. But I wanted to kind of show you, sorry, I'm looking to see which the best brushes to use. And I'm going to use different brushes for both palettes, and I have cleaned them. My one brush is really stained, and it's from using, even after washing it, it's from using a palette with like a blue in it, you know. But I love it, and I don't care. But it is clean. So I'm going to make sure I use different brushes. So for this one, I'm going to use the Jaclyn Hill on this side, Naked Heat on this side. I'm going to put my brushes separately so you know I'm not fooling you. And actually, to set my eye primer, I'm going to use these 2 brushes. These are also both Wet n Wild brushes. This one's smaller. I don't like it as much, but I don't have 2 of the fluffy ones, so we're gonna do. On the Jaclyn Hill side, I'm going to use In Light. This one is definitely shimmery, like it has more of a shimmer to it, but again, I'm just kind of setting my primer more than anything. And then new brush, the Naked Heat palette, I'm going to use Ounce, which this one looks like it's shimmery, but I feel like once you put it on the eye, it doesn't have and I always do this. I know there's a lot of like back and forth to whether or not you should set your eye primer. I think it really depends on the shadow. I feel like shadows that are harder to blend, I like to set it because it just kind of doesn't stick as much to the primer, because the more it sticks, the harder it is to blend out. But for shadows that are a little bit easier to blend, or you're kind of using it to pack more of a punch, like you're kind of packing it on and not blending it out, I don't, so it just kind of depends, you know. And sometimes I'll only set it in certain areas too. Okay, let me grab my blending brush. And now I'm taking butter. Is that butter? I don't always agree with her like names. I am gonna use my Naked Heat palette just for the mirror, sorry. In case you're wondering what I'm looking at. Or why I'm holding it if you end up seeing it in the camera. I'm not using it right now. The Jaclyn Hill palette's like right in front of me. But I can't see what I'm doing, so. Just blending this. Because I've hooded eyes, I always blend above my crease. To bring the color up, because otherwise, if I just stuck to my crease, you wouldn't see anything. Okay, so I'm gonna put the brush down, pick up my other blending brush, and now I'm going to use Low Blow in the Naked Heat palette. This is also a good tutorial too if this is just kind of an eye look that you've been debating about trying. This is definitely a fall look that I do a lot. These like orangish, like warm browns, orangish, like glitter shades. I'm gonna go up a little bit higher on this one. You know, sometimes you do one side and then you do the other and you're like, wait, not quite even. Which I'm sure you can even tell on the camera. Part of that's the way my eye folds too, so my ears are not the same on both sides. Alright, so next I'm going to take, and I'm going to use those same brushes because when I want to kind of go a little bit deeper. And I am going to use, I'm trying to think of what shade that is. This is going to be Roxanne in the Morphe palette. I'm going to use that in the corner and then just about halfway through my actual crease, so a little bit below what I did before. To kind of pump up that orange. Grab a little bit more. I'm also going to kind of dab it on the outer corner of my lid and then blend that out. Okay. So then next in the Naked Heat palette, I'm going to use He Devil. And just do the exact same thing. No tricks here. Like I said, I'll give you my thoughts on these palettes, and I use them both. Obviously, I have them both. I haven't decluttered either of them. And I've actually used them both to make this look, which is how it kind of came into. Alright, so now what I want to do is deepen up the corner, and I'm trying to use several shades in here, so you can really see I'm not just putting like one shade down and then being like, oh, you can get the same look. No, I want to show you that you're really creating like an eye look with several colors. We'll use, alright, so in the Jaclyn Hill palette, I'm going to go into Jax. It's like J-A-C-Z. I have no idea how to pronounce that. And I'm going to go mostly on the outer corner of the lid. Outer corner of the lid. And And again, I just want to kind of show you just like that. Not really easy. And then with the Sigma brush, I'm going to go into Enfuego and just do the exact same thing. Again, mostly just focusing that on my lid. Okay, so next in the Jaclyn Hill palette, I'm going to take just something just a little smidge darker in the, it's going to be Chip, same brush I just used. On the very most V. Just like that. Okay, back to the Sigma brush, and then I'm going to use Ashes in the Naked Heat palette. Okay, and I'll clean that up. I always end up with that there. Now, the fun part, the glittery shade. I'm going to use my fingers for this. I do have a paper towel here in case I need to wipe it off because I'm not a lefty. I'm going to use Firework from the Morphe palette. Like that. I'm gonna wipe it off. I guess I could try with my other finger. I'm also gonna blend it out, so I'm gonna go back to that blending brush I had and just blend the edge slightly. Even add, oops, I almost tipped into the wrong palette. So now I'm gonna go into Scorched in the Naked Heat palette. Sorry, I'm just not as good with my left hand. Alright, and then I'm going to blend that out. I'm going to grab the blending brush I used for that side to go. So, just like that. And then I'm going to clean up under my eyes just a tad. And again, I'll give you my thoughts on both palettes. And now I'm just going to do the under part. Two brushes. These brushes, again, are also not very similar. This one is the one that comes in the Dose of Colors. This one is the e.l.f. smudger brush. I'm going to use the e.l.f. one with the Jaclyn Hill. I'm going to go back into Roxanne. Just blend underneath. Do like tighter on the lower lash line. And then I'm going to blend it out with butter. Okay, and then I'm going to go into with the Dose of Color. And again, I'm going to go into He Devil. Tightly along the lower lash line. and then back in with low blow. Okay, and now I'm going to do the inner corner. I'm going So for inner corner, I've got this brush that I got from Michaels, which is technically a paintbrush, and then I have this one from Ulta, which is their eyeshadow brush. And I'm going to take the Michaels one with the Jaclyn Hill palette and just put it in the inner corner. And then I'm going to take Ounce from the Naked Heat palette and do the same thing. And voila, let me get real nice and close for you. Feel like I need to check to make sure I'm blended well. Okay, now, before I completely finalize everything and tell you my thoughts, I'm going to go and put on mascara and liner, and I will be right back. Okay, so I'm back, finished eye look, I have everything on. If you also wanted to jazz it up and add like glitter to your eye look, may I recommend the Pixie by Petra. These are like their fairy lights in Passion Light. I've done this before with this shade, but it's just like, it would be really pretty on top. It is really pretty on top. If you wanted to add, I like swatched it in the worst place ever. What was I thinking? There, it's a little bit better, but it's just really pretty in that, like in the inner corners. Would be nice. So here's my thoughts on these palettes. Before I get glitter everywhere on me. And I'll swatch everything. So let me swatch it for you really quick. So the first, I'm going to swatch the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette, and this is in light. And I don't know if you're really going to be able to see it on my arm. So that's in light. And then the Naked Heat in Ounce, which is definitely more matte, which I don't even know if you can tell because Ounce is a little bit of a sheen, but in light is definitely, I've used in light as a highlighter before. Wiping those off, sorry. Wiping my fingers off. Next we've got Butter from the Jaclyn Hill palette and Low Blow from the Naked Heat, and these are where you're going to notice the biggest difference. Okay, so those are definitely different. Butter is definitely more orange. Low Blow has more of a brown to it. So next we're going to do Roxanne. And then He Devil. And these are almost spot on. These are the worst swatches ever. I need to swatch them in a better spot on my arm. That'd probably be better. Okay, and then next we're gonna use, is that Jack's one? And then En Fuego in Naked Heat. And Fuego takes some building, and I don't know if it's like mine. It's also browner than the Jaclyn Hill. You know, the Jaclyn Hill is probably more of like a true burgundy. This one's a little bit different. All right, and then you're gonna take Chip right there. And Ashes, which also look very similar. Ashes, again, the Naked Heat, you have to build up more. And then finally, the two shimmery ones, the ones everybody wants, which I guess I'll just swatch right here. Firework in the Jaclyn Hill palette. Beautiful shimmer, like that's gorgeous. And then Dirty Talk in the Naked Heat. Now here is what I will tell you with these. Okay, alright, so now that my arm is covered in color, let me cover that up before I get it all over everything. So out of the two palettes, I like the Jaclyn Hill one better. I think that this one has more true to colorness to it. I also really like Firework better than I like the shimmers in the Naked Heat palette. Now the Naked Heat palette's going to pull a little bit more brown. But again, I don't think anyone looking at my eyes is going to be like, you have two different eye palettes. I'll be shocked. I do think that if you really want a more impactful shimmer with the Naked Heat, you're better off using like Max Fix Plus and a glitter glue to really get it to like adhere to your eyes. But again, you are getting essentially the same look from both of these palettes. Now, there are things that I do like about both. One of the things I like about the Naked Heat palette is I think it's a little more like goof proof. When shades are really pigmented, although the Jaclyn Hill one blends really well, it's a lot easier to make mistakes with the Naked Heat palette because you kind of have to build up the colors. This one is just a little bit easier, so to me this is much more of a beginner palette than the Jaclyn Hill one. Also, which I did not use because it is an intense, one of the things I love about the Naked Heat palette is this color called Ember, which is like this dark, like orangish, reddish, shifted, it's so beautiful, love it, is one of my all-time favorite colors, which is probably why I haven't gotten rid of the palette. I don't wear this very often, obviously, because, I mean, it will stain. Like, that shimmer is very, very nice. But overall, I do like this one a little bit more. It's obviously cheaper, gives you more options. But again, if you have either of these palettes, if you have other palettes, you can create this look. And I have other palettes that create very similar looks as well. These aren't the only two. So whenever you see something is coming out and you're just like, hey, I know a lot of people right now are on low buys and no buys, think about what you have and really think about, well, you know, just because they don't swatch the same doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to get the same look. And that's really important because I know so many people who swatch and like, these are different. Yes, but do they really look different on the eye? Are you really getting a different look? More than likely, probably not. You know, because the way the light hits your eyes is going to be different where they are. You know, again, I have hooded eyes. The way my eyes fold is not the same on both eyes. So for someone to say like you have different eyeshadow, people can't really tell. So really look at what you have. You know, if you're really on the fence about a palette, especially, don't just run out and buy it before, you know, you've really looked at what you have and really making sure that you're making smart choices. You know, I think we get all these releases, we're like, it's so pretty. It is all very pretty, but it's also expensive and it's an investment. And I've seen so many people that have these gigantic collections and they talk about how they only touch a couple palettes, but then they're still buying and still buying. So before you buy, really take a look, because you probably have something that's going to create a very similar look to even some of the looks that might be outside of your comfort zone. So that's what I have for you today. Again, this is my 2 palettes, 1 look series. I have many more that I can do this with. I mean, purple looks and green looks and everything. So if you're interested in seeing those in the future, I would love to have you.